Mia, quick question.
Go ahead.
What did you do yesterday?
Yesterday, let me think. I made coffee. I answered some messages. I did a few things to finish. I think I ate something at some point.
You think you ate something?
It was definitely food. Probably.
Mia, that is one of the least exciting descriptions of a human day I have ever heard.
Okay. You're right. Let me try again. Yesterday was actually more eventful than I expected. I had a few things to finish, but in the afternoon, I ended up running into someone I hadn't seen in months. We talked for almost an hour, and when I look back on it now, it turned out to be one of the nicest parts of my week.
Now that is a yesterday.
Same day, completely different sentence.
Same day, different story. And that is exactly what today is about.
Hey everyone! Welcome back to Enjoy English with Noah, the podcast where real English meets real life. I'm Mia.
And I'm Noah. And today we are talking about how to describe yesterday in English. Not just yesterday was good. Not just a list of things you did, but a real answer with details, feelings, and phrases that make you sound clear, natural, and confident.
This is a B1 to B2 level episode. The language is natural and useful, and we will show you exactly how to upgrade your answers from basic to brilliant, step by step.
And at the end, our word tour. 6 phrases from today. Each one practiced slowly with 3 real sentences you can use tomorrow when someone asks, "How was your day?" But first, a challenge. Write in the comments one sentence about your yesterday. Start with one of these. Yesterday turned out, or I ended up, or I managed to. Keep it simple. One sentence. We read every comment.
And if yesterday was genuinely boring, that is also allowed. Yesterday turned out to be very quiet, and I ate something that was probably food.
We accept all yesterdays here. No judgment. Okay, Mia, let's talk about why yesterday was good is not enough.
Okay, so most English learners, when someone asks, "How was your day?" they say one of 3 things. It was good, it was fine, or it was busy.
The 3 standard answers: safe, polite, and completely empty.
Empty, like a bag that looks heavy but has nothing inside.
Yes. And the problem is, the other person hears it was good and thinks, okay. And the conversation stops.
But if you add one small detail, one feeling, one moment, one small result, suddenly the conversation continues.
Because details are invitations. They invite the other person to ask more. They make your English feel alive.
And learners often think, I need better grammar to sound natural. But actually, the grammar is usually fine. What's missing is the detail.
Right. Yesterday, I woke up, I worked, I ate, I slept. That is a robot's diary.
Day completed. Food consumed. Human resting.
Very efficient. 0 personality. But yesterday was more eventful than I expected. I had a lot going on, but I managed to get through it. And honestly, it turned out better than I thought. That is the same person, same day. But now, you want to know more. Because it has a shape. It has a beginning, more than expected. A middle, I had a lot going on. And an end turned out better than I thought. That is a story.
And that is exactly the formula we want to teach you today. Time, action, feeling, result. 4 ingredients, 1 natural answer.
Time. When did it happen? Action. What happened? Feeling. How did it feel? Result. How did it end? Or what did it mean?
And you don't need all 4 every time. Even 2 or 3 makes a huge difference.
Okay. Let's start with a busy or eventful yesterday, because I think this is the most common kind, the day where more things happened than you planned.
And the word for that is eventful.
Eventful. Full of events. Full of things happening.
Yes, and the most natural sentence is, yesterday was more eventful than I expected.
That sentence is so useful because it tells the other person, I thought it would be quiet, but it wasn't. Something happened. Ask me more.
And then you add the detail. Yesterday was more eventful than I expected. I had 3 unexpected meetings and somehow still managed to finish my work.
Managed to. That phrase is doing a lot of work there.
Yes, managed to means you succeeded in doing something, especially when it wasn't easy. So I managed to finish my work sounds much stronger than I finished my work.
Because I finished my work sounds simple, but I managed to finish my work tells the story of a small battle. The work tried to defeat me. I won.
The daily life battle.
Very heroic. Every to-do list is a small war. And another great phrase for a busy yesterday, I ended up doing something I didn't plan.
Ended up. Yes, ended up means something happened even though it wasn't your original plan. I planned to stay home, but I ended up going out.
Or, I only meant to check 1 email, but I ended up replying to 15.
That is a very real ended up.
The inbox has no mercy. And then, for the result, you use turned out. Turned out. The final result was a certain way. It turned out better than I expected. Or, it turned out to be a really good day.
Turned out is beautiful because it has movement in it. It wasn't certain at the beginning, but in the end, this is what it became. Let's practice. I'll ask you about yesterday. You describe it using eventful, managed to, and turned out. Noah?
So Noah, how was your yesterday?
Honestly, it was more eventful than I expected. I had a full morning of things to finish, and then my plans for the afternoon completely changed. A friend called, and I ended up meeting him for coffee, even though I had planned to stay home. We talked for almost 2 hours, and actually, it turned out to be the best part of my whole week.
That was perfect. Did you notice what he did? He started with the feeling, more eventful than I expected. He added the action, ended up meeting a friend. And he ended with the result, turned out to be the best part of my week.
Time, action, feeling, result. The 4 ingredients in 1 natural answer. Okay, but Noah, what if yesterday was not eventful? What if nothing big happened? What if it was just a quiet, ordinary day?
Great question, because I think a lot of learners feel embarrassed about quiet days, like they need to invent something interesting.
Like, well, I climbed a mountain and discovered a new language.
Please don't. Nobody needs that pressure. A quiet yesterday is completely fine to describe. You just need the right phrases.
Like, nothing major happened, but it was still a nice day.
Nothing major happened. That is so natural. It means nothing big or important, just a regular day. Or, yesterday was pretty quiet. I stayed home, caught up on a few things, and took it easy. Caught up on. I love that phrase. Caught up on means to do something you didn't have time for before. Like, I caught up on emails, Or I caught up on sleep. Or I caught up on the series I'd been avoiding for 3 weeks. The avoidance catch-up. Very relatable. It needed me. We are at peace now. And took it easy means you relaxed. You didn't push yourself. You moved at a gentle pace. And even a quiet yesterday can end with something meaningful. You can say, yesterday was simple, but it was exactly what I needed. That sentence, exactly what I needed, it's so honest and so human.
Because sometimes the best day is not the most exciting one. Sometimes it's just the one that felt right.
Put that on something.
A pillow. Definitely a pillow.
We have a blanket from last episode. We're building furniture.
The Enjoy English with Noah home collection. Coming soon.
Okay, let's do the 2 versions. Basic answer first, then the natural upgraded version.
Basic version. Yesterday was quiet. I stayed home.
Natural version? Yesterday was pretty quiet, actually, which was exactly what I needed. I stayed home, caught up on a few things I'd been putting off, and took it easy in the evening. Nothing major happened, but it felt really good to just slow down.
Same quiet day. But now it has texture. It has a feeling. And it tells the other person, this was a choice, not an accident. I needed this day.
And that makes even a quiet yesterday worth talking about. Okay, now the one nobody wants, but everyone has. A difficult yesterday. The kind where everything took longer than expected. The kind where you opened one task and somehow 3 more appeared.
The multiplication task. 1 becomes 4. Nobody knows how. Dark magic. And for those days, you can say, yesterday was a bit overwhelming. A bit overwhelming. Overwhelming means too much is happening at once. Too much to handle comfortably. And a bit overwhelming is softer than it was terrible. It's honest, but calm. Like, yes, it was hard, but I'm okay. And you can add what made it hard. Yesterday was a bit overwhelming because everything took longer than expected. Took longer than expected. That phrase is perfect for difficult days. It means something needed more time than you thought. Like, that email took longer than expected to write. Or the meeting took longer than expected and now my whole afternoon is gone. The meeting that ate the afternoon.
Classic.
Very classic. And then, for difficult days, managed to becomes even more powerful.
I managed to get through it. That sentence is so strong.
Yes, get through it means you survived a difficult experience. You didn't quit. You finished, even when it was hard.
And after a difficult day, you can reflect on it. And this is where look back on becomes really useful.
Look back on, to remember something from the past and think about it now.
So instead of just reporting what happened, I worked, I was tired, I slept, you reflect. When I look back on yesterday, I'm actually proud of how I handled it.
And that is the most important difference today.
Reporting is saying what happened. Reflecting is saying what it meant.
A list says, I worked, I was tired, I slept. A story says, yesterday was tough, but I managed to get through it. And when I look back on it, I feel glad I didn't give up.
Reflect. Don't just report. That is the difference between a list and a story.
Okay, let's build 3 full answers together. Basic version first, then the natural upgraded version. Listen for the phrases.
Version 1. Quiet yesterday. Basic. Yesterday was quiet. I stayed home. Upgraded. Yesterday was pretty quiet, which
which was actually perfect. I caught up on a few things, took it easy in the afternoon, and nothing major happened, but it felt like exactly what I needed.
Version 2. Busy yesterday. Basic. Yesterday was busy. I had a lot to do.
Upgraded. Yesterday was more eventful than I expected. I had a lot going on, but I managed to get through most of it. And honestly, it turned out better than I thought it would too.
Version 3. Difficult yesterday. Basic. Yesterday was hard. I was tired.
Upgraded. Yesterday was a bit overwhelming, if I'm honest. Everything took longer than expected, and by the evening, I was exhausted. But I managed to get through it. And when I look back on it now, I'm actually glad I kept going.
Do you see what happened each time? The basic version closes the conversation. The upgraded version opens it.
Because details are invitations. And phrases like turned out, managed to, ended up, look back on, those are the phrases that make your English feel alive.
Okay, I want to end the main conversation with something that I think changes everything. Yesterday is not a list. Yesterday is a story.
Say more.
Think about it. When you ask a friend, "How was your day?" you are not asking for a spreadsheet. You are not asking for bullet points. You are asking, "Tell me something real. Tell me how it felt."
And English learners sometimes forget this because they focus so much on did I use the right tense, is my grammar correct, that they forget to just tell the story.
And the story doesn't need to be impressive. It doesn't need a dramatic ending. Yesterday is a small story, like a short film about one ordinary person having one ordinary day.
A short film about existing.
The most relatable genre. And every yesterday has 3 things. A beginning, how the day started or what you expected. A middle, what actually happened. And an end, how it felt or what it meant.
And worthwhile is the word for that ending moment, when even a hard day was worth the time and effort.
Worthwhile. Worth the time, worth the effort, worth the energy, even if it was difficult.
So the day was exhausting, but it felt worthwhile. Or helping my colleague took all afternoon, but it was worthwhile.
Worthwhile is the word you use when you reflect, when you look back on yesterday and say, yes, that mattered.
And that is the difference between a list and a story. A list ends with the last item. A story ends with meaning. Yesterday is not just a date. It's a small suitcase. And inside, there are moments, feelings, small victories, and maybe one thing that surprised you.
Noah, is there food in the suitcase?
There is always a snack in the suitcase.
Every single time.
The snack is reliable, unlike my to-do list. Okay, before the word tour, let's bring today together.
When someone asks, "How was your day?" don't give them a list. Give them a story. Even a small one, even a quiet one.
Use the formula. Time, action, feeling, result. Not all 4 every time. Just enough to give the answer a shape. And use the phrases we learned today. More eventful than I expected. Ended up. Managed to. Turned out. Worthwhile. Look back on. These are the phrases that make your English feel natural.
And remember, reflect. Don't just report. Anyone can say what happened. A storyteller says what it meant.
And if yesterday was boring, nothing major happened, but it was exactly what I needed. That is always a valid answer.
Always. Don't forget, write in the comments, yesterday turned out, or I managed to. We read every single one. And now, the word tour. 6 phrases from today. Each one practiced slowly, with 3 real sentences you can use starting tomorrow. Our first word is eventful, full of things happening, more than you expected. Say it slowly. Eventful. Eventful.
Eventful describes a day, a week, or even a meeting that was busy and full of things happening.
And the most natural sentence? Yesterday was more eventful than I expected. That tells the listener something happened. Ask me more.
3 real sentences.
Yesterday was more eventful than I expected. It was an eventful morning. 3 things happened before 9. My week has been pretty eventful, to be honest. So instead of yesterday was busy, try yesterday was more eventful than I expected. Immediately more interesting. Our second phrase is ended up. Something happened, even though it wasn't your original plan. Say it slowly. Ended up. Ended up. Ended up always comes before an action. I ended up staying late. We ended up talking for 2 hours. I ended up eating everything on the plate. That last one, very realistic. The reliable snack. 3 real sentences. I planned to stay home, but I ended up going out. We ended up talking for almost 2 hours. I only meant to check one thing, and I ended up fixing everything. So instead of I didn't plan it, but it happened, say I ended up doing it. Much more natural. Our third phrase is managed to. You succeeded in doing something, especially when it wasn't easy. Say it slowly. Managed to. Managed to. Managed to always comes before a verb. I managed to finish. I managed to stay calm. I managed to get through the day. And it sounds stronger than just saying you did it. It tells the story of a small effort, a small battle, and you won. 3 real sentences. I managed to finish everything before the deadline. It was a hard day, but I managed to get through it. I managed to stay calm even when things went wrong. So instead of I did it, say I managed to do it. The small baddie is in that phrase. Our fourth phrase is turned out. The final result was a certain way, often surprising. Say it slowly. Turned out. Turned out. Turned out has movement in it. The beginning was uncertain, but in the end, this is what it became. It turned out better than I expected. The meeting turned out well. It turned out to be a great decision. 3 real sentences. Yesterday turned out better than I expected. The trip turned out to be really worthwhile. I wasn't sure about it at first, but it turned out great. So instead of the result was good, say it turned out really well. Much more natural and much more interesting.
Our 5th word is worthwhile. Worth the time, effort, or energy, even if it was hard. Say it slowly. Worthwhile. Worthwhile. Worthwhile is the word you use when you reflect, when you look back and say, yes, that mattered. That was worth it. Worthwhile often comes after felt, was, or turned out to be. The day felt worthwhile. It was exhausting, but worthwhile. It turned out to be really worthwhile. 3 real sentences. The day was tiring, but it felt worthwhile. Helping them took all afternoon, but it was worthwhile. When I look back on it, the whole thing was worthwhile. So instead of it was worth it, say it felt worthwhile. More natural, more reflective, more you. And our final phrase, look back on. To remember something from the past and think about what it meant now. Say it slowly. Look back on. Look back on. Look back on is the phrase for reflecting, not just reporting. You're not just saying what happened, you're saying what it means to you now. When I look back on yesterday, I feel proud. When I look back on it, I'm glad I went. Looking back, it was one of the best decisions I made. 3 real sentences. When I look back on yesterday, I feel glad I kept going gone. Looking back, it turned out to be really worthwhile. When I look back on the whole week, I feel proud of what I managed to do. So instead of I think about it now and say when I look back on it, that is the phrase of a storyteller. And our final phrase, look back on. To remember something from the past and think about what it meant now. Say it slowly. Look back on. Look back on.
Now, let's put all of today's phrases together in one natural answer. Listen first.
Yesterday was more eventful than I expected. I had a lot going on, but I managed to get through most of it. In the afternoon, I ended up meeting an old friend, which I hadn't planned at all. And honestly, the whole day turned out to be really worthwhile. When I look back on it now, I feel glad it happened the way it did.
Beautiful. Now let's say it slowly together.
Yesterday was more eventful than I expected. I had a lot going on, but I managed to get through most of it. In the afternoon, I ended up meeting an old friend. The whole day turned out to be really worthwhile. When I look back on it now, I feel glad it happened the way it did.
Now try your own version. Think about your yesterday. Use 1 or 2 of today's phrases, say it out loud, or write it in the comments. That is real English practice.
And before we go, a few useful sentences to remember. Yesterday was more eventful than I expected. I ended up doing something I hadn't planned. I managed to get through it. It turned out better than I expected. The day felt worthwhile. When I look back on it, I feel glad.
And one bonus sentence. Nothing major happened, but it was still a nice day. Because not every yesterday needs fireworks.
Sometimes a small, ordinary yesterday is still worth telling.
Put that on something.
The pillow collection is growing.
It really is. Tell us in the comments, how was your yesterday? Start with yesterday turned out. We want to read everyone. And if today's episode helped you, please subscribe to Enjoy English with Noah and share this with one person who wants to sound more natural in English. Take care of your English and take care of yourself.
This is Noah.
And this is Mia.
You've been listening to Enjoy English with Noah. See you in the next one.